Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NEC On The Run podcast. Alongside Ralph Ventre, I'm Kyle Turner, and we're talking women's basketball today. Ralph, let's jump right into it. Give me an update on where they stand.
Well, Kyle, if there will be an 18-0 team this year, it will have to be the Bryant Bulldogs. 33% of the way through the conference schedule, and Bryant is the lone remaining unbeaten. 6-0 in league play. They're a third of the way to that perfect season. Mary Burke's team fought through some chemistry issues early in the non-conference season, but since the new year, they're clicking all cylinders, firing on all cylinders. They lead the NEC in rebounding margin. They lead the Northeast Conference in field goal percentage. They're balanced. They're playing defense. And it's no surprise that the Bulldogs are 6-0 in first place. Now, why are the Bulldogs the lone remaining unbeaten? Well, the reason is Fairleigh Dickinson. Fairleigh Dickinson went into Robert Morris on Saturday and took down the preseason favorite Colonials, handing Robert Morris its first league loss. So Robert Morris falls down to 5-1 in a three-way tie for second place with St. Francis U and Sacred Heart. The Knights won their opener over St. Francis Brooklyn, then went on a little slide, but just this past Saturday, they showed their potential by taking down the Colonials. So with the veteran center, Eric Livermore, a scoring guard in Kelsey Cruz, FDU, they're 2-4 right now, but they are a dangerous team.
All right, Ralph, well, we took a look at the team standings, but now let's take a look at where some of the NEC individuals stand.
Well, two players in particular, Kyle, are amongst the top in NCAA Division I, atop the national leaderboard in three-point field goals made. It's St. Francis freshman Jessica Kovach. From Phillipsburg, New Jersey, she has taken the NEC by storm, averaging more than 23 points per game. That's leading all Division I freshmen. It's 8th overall amongst Division I scorers. And as I mentioned at the top, 65 three-pointers made. That's number one in the nation, 3.82 per game. The Red Flash freshman is on fire. The second name I'm going to mention is one that NEC fans should be rather familiar with. It's Wagner Jr. Jasmine Nawaje. Ever since she stepped foot on Staten Island as a freshman, she was a dynamic scorer. Went over 1,000 points as a sophomore. She's steadily climbing Wagner's all-time chart, and she is number 3 right now on the NCAA Division I leaderboard. More than 24 points per game for Jasmine Nawaje. She has really turned it on in conference play.
All right, well, Nawaje and Kovach representing the NEC well amongst national leaders. Ralph, let's take a Twitter timeout. What do you got for me?
Well, we'll take a little Twitter timeout. I got a double-decker for you here this week. We start with Stephanie Oliver, the head coach, first-year head coach at LIU Brooklyn. It's a simple tweet, makes great use of the hashtags. I love your tweeting ability, Coach Oliver. Sends the message that she's a proud coach. Now, why is Stephanie Oliver a proud coach? Well, our next tweet from Nelson Castillo, the editor at Blackbirds Hoops Journal, he explains the Blackbirds gutted out a victory, shorthanded, undermanned, and they pulled one out on Monday night to even their conference record at 3-3. LIU Brooklyn, the expectations were not high for the Blackbirds this year. They were picked last in the preseason poll, but 1/3 of the way through, they're 3-3, sitting alone in 5th place. So it's quite understandable that Stephanie Oliver is one proud coach.
All right, Ralph, well, coming out of the timeout, it's time to take a look at your play of the week.
Well, I apologize if you've seen this play before. Well, no, I really don't, because it's that exciting and that good. As soon as this play came to my attention, I lobbied for it to be number one on the NEC 9 countdown. And it appears that someone has finally listened to me, because this game-tying three-pointer you're about to see was number one on the weekly top plays countdown. It starts out by Burl Piper drawing up a nice play, getting Camden Musgrave an open look at what would be a game-tying three in overtime. Musgrave leads the team in three-point shooting, nearly 36%. She hits more than 2 threes per game. That's who you want to get the ball. Piper does it. It doesn't fall, but then CCSU does a nice job improvising, getting the O board, Epps sinking the three, and that, my friends, is how you produce a number one play of the week.
Well, Ralph, it's good to see that the editors of the NEC 9 kind of listened to you and got that play as number one. Now let's take a look ahead. What do you got?
Well, first, Kyle, I'm not going to lie. I did get a little pushback there from someone, but obviously cooler heads and sanity prevailed, because there is no doubt that that play, with the start of Burl Piper and then the finish by Epps, that play deserved it. Well, what's up next for us, you ask, Kyle? And let's take a look at the featured matchups on Saturday. First, we're going to go with the Battle of Brooklyn. St. Francis Brooklyn heads down the street a few blocks to the Steinberg Wellness Center. It'll be the Terriers and the Blackbirds, the official Battle of Brooklyn. They play for bragging rights, but there is also an NEC victory at stake. This is a good one. It'll be on ESPN3, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you want to see two teams who play hard for their coaches, the Blackbirds for Stephanie Oliver and the Terriers for John Thurston, you want to watch this one. These two teams, they'll leave it all out there. Now let's look what's ahead for Bryant, the lone remaining unbeaten. Bryant will also host an ESPN3 matchup on Saturday. They welcome in the Robert Morris Colonials. This is going to be a battle of preseason number 1 and preseason number 2. First place and second place. Well, then after Saturday, it doesn't get any easier for the Bulldogs. That's because St. Francis, the 5-1 St. Francis Red Flash, are coming to Smithfield. So with Robert Morris and St. Francis in back-to-back games, Bryant will have its hands full. They play 2 5-1 teams and the top 2 3-point shooting teams in the Northeast Conference.
All right, well, we'll see if Bryant can escape the weekend undefeated, and we'll also see which Brooklyn school comes out on top and earns bragging rights after the Battle of Brooklyn. And if you're a fan of any of the other teams in the NEC, don't forget you can see all of their games live on necfrontrow.com. For Ralph Ventre, I'm Kyle Turner. This has been the NEC On The Run podcast, talking women's basketball. We'll see you guys next week.